a horse today. You can use either charcoal or pencil or both. Whatever you have is fine. I like to start the outline with the pencil. I'm gonna show you the picture first. Let me quickly grab it here that we're going to draw so you have an idea. We'll see if this takes the whole class. So we're gonna paint only the head of the horse because I think it's gonna take us too long to paint the whole horse. So we'll just get started. This is so you have an idea.
Wow, that looks very nice.
Thank you. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is remember how we like to draw big shapes first. So we draw the bigger shapes first. So I will draw, I'll make lines first, just indications, and you can follow along or you can wait until I am a little bit farther ahead. And these are just indications of where my shapes are going to be. So I like taking measurements with my fingers just to get a rough idea. So the first thing I'm going to draw is the big oval shape for the face and the nose. So remember, this part is always with very little pressure. Look how I grab my pencil far back and move my entire arm from my shoulder. If I grab it here, I cannot move too much. So farther back, very little pressure. Go back and forth if you need to fix your shapes. So the first thing I'm drawing is a little bit of an oval. Let's actually finish it so you can see it better. So this side is wider. This is smaller. And pay attention to this angle right here. So if I were to measure this section and put it over here, it will give me above, just above the mid section. This is just so you get an idea. If it's a bit confusing, then don't worry about it. Just try to see that the proportions are the same and our angles. So this is, remember, a big shape that we're gonna erase later. This is just a guideline. So draw very, very lightly I do it a little bit with a little bit more pressure so you can see. So right here, I'll make an indication that's where the neck starts. And from the neck to the back, so I take this measurement from the nose to the neck and I bring it here. And then I draw a line indicating that's the end of my neck, back. I'm gonna make an indication of the ear that is coming maybe from where you take the neck. If you continue going up, that's where you start one of the ears. I know I'm going a little bit fast right now, but it's just so you can see a bigger picture and then you can take your time. If you use very light pressure, you're going to be able to change these lines that we don't need after. The hardest part when you draw is just starting, getting to see the proportions. This is a curve, that's the jaw. Then here's a little bit more straight. And then it drops down, but we'll do that after. So this is our big shape. Now we are going to start to draw a little bit more detail and fix these big shapes. So I think I want to start with the jaw. I'm just measuring a little bit. Yeah, so 2/3. It needs to be just a little bit farther in. So I'm gonna make lines just a little bit with a little bit more pressure. So here, I have a curved line here, comes in a little bit, and then comes back down just a little bit, and then it starts really going down. And after it goes down here, I start to go up, and this is the mouth. Now that I'm drawing a little bit more detail, I go closer to the tip. Now I see how thick. I think this is a bit too wide, so I'm gonna make it just a little bit narrower. I'm gonna erase what's behind my ear because I don't see that. Let me just always double check your measurements. Sometimes you need to take a step back. So this section is 1.5. This section right here is equal to 1.5 this one. So we measure 1. So this is 1. 2 would be here, half would be here. So I need to bring this down. And this line is too far back. I'm gonna start erasing the lines we don't need. So every time I start a drawing is just the process of trial and error. If I could get you to mute your mics, please. Thank you. So this is, I'm still fixing my big shapes. And then after I'm happy with my proportion and you're happy with the proportions, we go with the detail and we draw more, like we draw stronger lines. I always find drawing horses I like it, but it's a little bit hard. They have strange faces, but they're very cute. So this horse, I think the real neck stops around here. And after this is just hair. So we'll do that later. The hair here comes all the way here so we can make an indication. I am going to finish my proportions and then you can get all caught up. So I started with a big oval shape just to give me an idea. Then I start narrowing it down, fixing the lines here and there with a more specific lines. So here you see a curve here, and then the neck starts down here. After we see the neck, then it's flatter and goes down a little bit. Then you can see a line really going down. That's where the mouth is. And the line of the mouth here. Here it starts the nose. And right here, I'm gonna make an indication of the nostril. So I just drew a C. And inside there is also another C looking down. This will be shaded later. And now we're gonna make an indication of the eye. But maybe let's first make an indication of this bone right here. Let me see how far back it is. Yeah, right there is. Okay. So just a small line right there. And if you go farther up from that line, there's the eye probably over here. Just gonna fix my camera. And there is hair coming from in between the ears. we'll just make an indication of the hair. Now so it starts to get confusing with the, I don't know what they're called, the thing that goes in their mouth. We'll do that after. Let's finish with the eye. So if I take this section here and I divide it in 4, whoops, no, that's not 4 section, that's where I draw my eye. And I think I have, it's just behind or in front of the neck. Sorry. So around here. Just an indication. We'll do the details later. They have like a bone over here. So the strap comes behind the ear. I'm gonna make just the first lines and then we'll do the detail. Goes to the mouth. Over here, there's another one around them, around like this. There's a circle right here. And the thing that is inside the mouth. And this one comes down. There's another strap from under here that goes up and joins this one over here. There's one on the forehead. And this one joins down right here. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes just to catch up. Just gonna join through my computer. I'm just going to put a little bit of detail on the eye. So it's just like an almond shape. And then at the top is a little bit more straight. And then on the outer section, there's a line that follows that outer line and then goes down a little bit. Also an indication here at the bottom. And it's dark inside at the top. This section is a little bit darker. And at this point, once you have all the marks and lines and indication, take a step back and look at the proportions. Is it maybe too thick, too thin, too long this way? Is the mouth maybe too far back? Does he have enough space here for the neck? Is the neck behind the eye? So if I put my pencil here, the neck is behind the eye, but at the same level as the ear, the right one. The left one is just behind my eye. Here you can only see the tip because of this hair over here. This section is just a little bit curved. So I'm gonna put the camera a little bit closer so you can see a bit more detail. You can take your time. I am going to get a darker pencil and go over the lines because I checked my horse and I like it. I like the proportions. So I'm just gonna start with the stronger outline so you can see a bit better, but you can take your time. Remember to use your pencil as a ruler and compare the sections, how big or how far are 2 points, and then compare that to another point. For example, how long is this section right here? You can check on your screen and then compare to yours. So my nose is about, so this section is 1.5 this section. So if you measure and you compare, and now this is twice as big as this one, maybe you need to shrink it down. So I'm gonna do this on the lines that I know are, or the areas that I know are going to be darker, not just the outline, because some parts like up here, I know that's the edge, but I don't want it to be dark because that's where my light hits. So that those areas you want to keep light. So if you have a lot of lines like me, I'm gonna show you. So if you have a lot of lines like this, just go with your eraser, the side of your eraser, and gently erase those extra lines you don't need. I can still see my lines, and now I'm able to go over with more pressure. I'm drawing this bottom line with lots of pressure because it is very dark. There's a shadow over there, so I'm changing these lines to more like little wavy lines or little mountains. You see how I draw one, finish here, go back, start a new one, go back, start a new one. So I go to the top, I draw with less pressure. I'm just going over the lines I already have. I'm not drawing anything, not changing too many things right now. And if you want to draw more realistically, the more you look at your reference picture, the better. And if you avoid imagining things, it will look better, because sometimes we think, oh, I think the mouth is maybe this long, and we don't really look at the picture, and we don't look into too much detail. We start imagining things, and that's where it starts looking a little bit different. And I have the hair that starts all the way over here. It just flows. We'll add more darkness to this section. This is just an indication, just to remind us that there's lots of hair there. Actually, let's bring this one more like down, because then we will have to show where it goes, but I don't know where it goes. It doesn't show in the picture. It's actually blended, or it goes underneath the hair. So I'll let you get to this point, and then we'll start shading a little bit. So I know it took a long way to get here. We start with bigger shapes, but that's the, I think, the key to drawing. If you can remember one thing from this class, is start with big shapes, light pressure on your pencils, and then work your way. It's like sculpt when you we see a sculpture. It started as a block, a big block, and then you slowly bring your way down to more detail and smaller shapes. If we start on a blank page and start doing just the line like that, it'll probably at the end, it won't look too symmetrical. So you can keep working on these main lines. I'm going to shade the eye. I like always starting with the eyes. So I have my almond shape here, and it's very dark at the top here. And right in the middle. So I'm just gonna quickly draw an oval shape like that, like the iris. And then I'm gonna shade around left to right. And also down, but not as hard. You wanna leave this blank space in between the circle and the top. And I'm gonna repeat that. Let me just grab another sheet. So I'll do it bigger so you can see. So this is the shape of my eye. It's like an almond. At the top, this line here is a little bit straight. Then it comes down. So inside my eye, what I did is I drew an oval like this and color it very dark. After I color it dark, I continue with the shading left to right. And I get a stuff like here. I want to make sure I leave this space white at the top because that's completely white in the picture. And then I color this further down. That's my eye. If you're having trouble seeing the other sections, there's not so much lines. They will become more like shadows, but there's a line over here surrounding the top of the eye. And there's also a shade here. So we're gonna do that and it'll really give it a nice shape. And there's a small line around here. So that's the eye kind of magnified. The other piece I want to do now is the nostril. So if you saw, I drew a big C here and another C or half a moon here going down. So I'm just gonna go over it to make sure this one is dark. And also inside this one, it'll be dark. And it closes or it goes towards my C here. So inside my middle one here, it's dark. This actually continues to go down, but I don't color inside. It's just this shape.
Silvana,
Yes.
how do you get your pencil line so sharp?
Uh, just with this pencil sharpener.
So you have to keep sharpening the pencil then.
Yes, sometimes when they are flat, let me see if I can show you one. When they are kind of used like this, you don't get the same.
I know. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and also with colors, when the point is not too sharp, when you shade like this,
Uh-huh.
it will be not this. They will be very uneven. So you want to make sure like you don't sharp only when it breaks. You need to keep sharpening so it stays very pointy. It'll make it easier.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. And now I'm going to do a step that you do not have to do. So what I am going to do is kind of draw shapes like this. That you don't have to do this. It's just for you to see which sections will be dark. Okay. So once we start shading, you know what sections are going to be darkest. But you can continue working on your lines if you're doing that. So there's the dark section right here. The ear, this part is very dark. And this section right here is very dark too. Remember, you don't need to draw these triangles and shapes I'm doing. This is for you to have a better idea once we start shading. The nose is going to be a bit tricky. And this is very dark, but we can do that last. So now we're gonna get, if you have a 2B, you can use that one. If you only have the HB, you can use that one as well. Just make sure you use less, not too much pressure, but more layers, I think. So I'm gonna start with this section under the neck. You can do one side only or circles. Section is also a bit dark. You see that I'm not putting too much pressure. If I want to make it darker, I will go over it. But for my first layer of shade, I like to keep it nice and simple. For the mouth, you want to leave a space between your shading area and the line here. Leave that little space white and then shade the bottom. And same for here, between the line and your shape that is being colored right now. Just leave a little bit of a white area. And this part is tricky because it can be confusing, but what we want is this C to be dark, but the spacing between this C and the nostril needs to be light. And some areas here will be darker. So this corner here is a bit darker. So I go back here, it's not too dark. Here it'll be, this line will be very dark. And then past that line, you also want to leave a white line here. So remember the U or the C upside down that we had? You want to leave it white. So in between this section here and this one, leave it white and color the back of it. Here in the middle, just shade very, very lightly so it's not completely white. It's like a medium color, not too dark. If you have a charcoal, let me know and I can show you how to do it with charcoal. The eyebrow here is very dark. So I think those are the darkest areas. Now I'm gonna take, you can grab a little bit of paper towel or the brush you use for drawing. If you have one, if not, just a little bit of paper towel or a Q-tip. And I like to blend it before I continue with my other tones. If you have more pencils like this, we can go to a 3B or a 4B and we'll redo the darkest areas. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going so you're able to see which areas are darkest. So for now, we'll have three main colors: the white space from the sheet, the very dark areas that we're doing first, and the mid-tones. So look at the image and try to think, is this the white, mid-tone, or very dark? So now that I have my darkest shapes, I switch back to a lighter pencil, so a HB or an H. And I want to do those mid tones. I like doing it up and down on animals just because it gives you that look of small hair, that texture, where you don't see any texture, you can just do little circles.